Welcome to the new Workology Go Podcast. In just under 5 minutes, we'll get you the HR and workplace news you need before you start your day. Get ready, get set, and go with the new Workology Go Podcast.
Here are today's HR and workplace news headlines from the Workology Go Podcast. I'm Jessica Miller-Merrill. This podcast is sponsored by Workology. The Institute of Coaching cites that over 70% of individuals who receive coaching benefited from improved work performance, relationships, and more effective communication skills. They also reported that a huge 86% of companies feel that they recouped the investment they made into coaching plus more on top. Studies also show that coaching is effective at reducing procrastination, which I am totally in this camp for, and facilitating goal attainment. And there is a growing body of empirical research that supports these findings. In an interesting new case study published in the International Journal of Evidence-Based Coaching and Mentoring, researcher Sally Bonnewell explores how coaching supports the development of female leaders within an organization. I've had a business coach for, about 5 months now, and it's been so great for me. I have been on a more organized, more kind of personal self, professional self journey since really the beginning of this year in 2019. I am more organized and I'm more accountable, and I've made some decisions in my business as a result. Plus, I can say that I have a better work-life balance. I still work a ton, but I feel so much better, knowing that things are scheduled and we have a system in place. It's freeing, and that's kind of weird because I've never felt that way, at least in a really long time. I also haven't felt this way about coaching, that it's a great thing. For a long time, I've felt that by having a coach, that was a weakness. My thoughts have changed on this as I really sat down and thought about the fastest way to move forward and to get unstuck personally and professionally. Today's featured article comes from Workology and is a podcast interview with a friend of mine who's an executive business coach, Tegan Travato. Tegan tells me in a previous podcast interview here why she thinks you should get an executive business coach.
Having a new set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes that isn't emotionally entangled with the business outcomes, isn't biased, doesn't have any political agenda. It's refreshing for any organization to have that. And part of that, we need to recognize it's important to select the right person for that kind of work. Bringing in an outside coach also helps executive teams. I work with a lot of teams, so I've watched executive teams in particular move from a group operating model into operating truly as a team. So a great outside coach, because they're not attached to this executive team in an emotional way. They can be objective, they can influence, advise, model behavior for them, and even be really overt about the fact that an executive team is operating as a group of independent leaders reporting into a CEO, where CEOs now are finding they get much more value if the executive group begins operating as a team and having many more shared agendas, sort of letting some of the boundaries fall away and allowing sales to influence operations and operations to influence marketing, for example, just by sharing their expertise more.
Getting a coach was an investment, and it was a huge risk, especially in my business where I'm the boss. And if this thing doesn't work out, it's all on me. But what I've learned about having a coach is it really isn't about the money. It's about the experience, their expertise, and it is worth the investment. But it's also about believing in myself and trusting that I can make this work. I've been working with this coach, and I think I've grown a lot in that time. I think the real benefit is that I'm finally investing in me. In HR, I think we do this too, all too often. We are all about giving to everyone else, but we never give to ourselves. And in order to be our best selves in our job and in our life, we need to focus on us, whether it's time off, self-care, a business coach, or training. I'm including some links in the podcast transcript of this episode for you. And I'd also love to hear about if you've had a breakthrough personally or professionally when working with a coach. You can send me a DM on Instagram at jmillermerrill. I look forward to talking with you. Workology now offers SHRM certification prep classes on your schedule with over 36 hours of online training, a private Facebook group, and instruction using the SHRM learning system. We give you the resources you need. Visit workology.com/products to learn more. And that's this episode of the Workology Go Podcast, sponsored by Workology. We're your go-to for HR and workplace news. I'm Jessica Miller-Merrill. Thank you for listening.
To learn more about the Workology Go podcast, subscribe to us on Apple, Google, and Stitcher. Our podcast is also available on Alexa and Google Home. Learn more at workology.com/Go podcast and access this episode's resources, links, and reports for more information.